Hello and welcome to Shimrath Plays Caves of Qud. This is the end cap episode for Hashroshram, and maybe a bit of a retrospective, and we're going to talk about a few things now that the series, this first character run through, has ended. Yeah, so let's get started. I basically want to do this just to kind of go over the lessons that we learned in that playthrough, and also to just talk about, a few kind of things in general about how I might kind of work this series as I do, future runs with characters through the game. So. For one thing, you may notice between a couple of the episodes it was a bit of a sloppy break because I had recorded an hour-long episode, over an hour long, because the game is fun, and I was playing and I was having a good time, and I completely forgot to think about how long I was playing and whether that would make a good episode for people to watch. And in the end, I had to end up splitting that hour-long episode into two just by chopping it in the middle somewhere. The only reason I bring that up is to say, for sure, Caves of Qud is a fun game to play. You can definitely get lost in it, and that's exactly, I think, what a game should do. So kudos to the folks who created this game, as you can see on the background screen here with the credits. These are the people who created the game and continue to work on the game, so thank you to them. It was a bit ironic. Hashroshram's death, I thought, was a bit ironic because I thought for sure he was toast when his own defect teleported him out into the ruins. I thought for sure there was no way we were going to make it all the way back to the village. And we did, which was crazy to me. And that it was ironic that we then said, all right, well, let's continue on our little mission here, in the relative safety of the vicinity close to Mapar, and then he got his head blown up by that creature who's the name that I can't recall at the moment. I probably should have written that down in my notes. As far as Hashroshram's death, I think we probably could have got out of that. I mean, for one thing, if I had sort of had a better recollection of what that creature in particular did. But this was fine because I think this is exactly what a noob would have done had they encountered this creature. Thought, oh no, I'm under attack. I'll run and hide. I'll take cover, and then your head blows up anyway. But I was only about one square away from that creature when I actually perished. So it's possible I could have thrown my grenade and blown him up. Maybe I could have blown him up in one shot. I'm not sure. I seem to recall from past playthroughs that particular creature is pretty squishy once you get into hand-to-hand and crush them. So that's a possibility. Another thing that was made very obvious by this playthrough, I thought, was how inaccurate my particular character was with the desert rifle, right? There were at least three times I shot a dog, I shot a baboon, and I shot a dragonfly and caused the dragonflies on that map to basically turn against me and start attacking me, and then I had to kill a whole bunch of them. And then several times I shot into the surrounding terrain, and then one time I shot a turtle but didn't actually pierce its shell. So those are all examples of times that I shot at creatures expecting to damage those creatures and ended up shooting other things on the map. So I feel like using a rifle is a bad idea if you're maybe not spec'd properly in the skills and abilities that make that a viable form of attack. So, I mean, if you don't mind just randomly blowing other neutral creatures away, then have at it. One of the things you may have noticed in the videos as we were trudging through, I would stumble on various words as I was reading, not crazy names and pronunciations, but like real words from the English language that I either was unsure how to pronounce or I had no idea what they even meant. The folks who make this game are pretty smart nerds, I think, and some of the vocabulary in the game reflects that. So I think I did a few times, and I think I will continue in making the videos, is to kind of make a little bit of a game out of it. This is a habit that I try to use whenever I'm reading something. If I'm reading something, especially with vocabulary that's a little bit above my grade level, I try to stop and look up those words and figure out what they mean kind of as I'm reading. So when I do stumble on a word, or if I encounter vocabulary in the game that I have no idea what it means, I'll probably throw the definition on the screen. For one, to kind of explain why I'm stumbling over the word or hesitating as I read it, and two, just to give the definition just in case somebody else doesn't know what it means. And then there will be a test at the very end. We'll have a vocabulary test. And no, I'm just kidding. That's just something I'll do that I think is cool. And what else? I think really that covers the topics. There may be some background noise in this video because the laundry is going in the room adjacent, but what we'll do is we'll just pretend that we're in an old, abandoned assembly line type of factory floor, and that it's infested with giant crab creatures, and we're hiding in a dark corner, and while the machinery is making a bunch of noise in the background. That's what we'll do. Here, I hear them now. One last thing. As I talk, I'm just going to kind of page down so you can see all the special thanks names. And then when we hit the bottom of that, I'm going to quickly show you where on the menus you can find the help menus. When you start playing the game, it could be beneficial to look through these help menus. They're fairly short, they're fairly concise, and let's do that now. So here they are, help index. Oh, let's go all the way back to the main menu. So here's the main menu. Under help is question mark here. Just push spacebar, and then you go to here. First, 10 things you should know when you start to play. Attributes, skills and powers, mutations and defects, artifacts, tonics, weapons and armor, combat, action costs, and then the credits and some licensing stuff. Definitely 10 things you should do when you start play. Some of those may be a bit obsolete because of the new user interface, such as how to like bind your mutations to specific shortcut keys and stuff like that. Now that you can just click them on the bottom of the screen with the new UI, that's a little bit easier. But one of the things we didn't talk about in the game is like attributes. So here it actually tells you what each attribute does. I don't think it goes into terrible amounts of detail about how things are calculated, but it does explain to you what all the different attributes in the game are and basically how they work and what they do for your character. And then like as far as skills and powers go, it doesn't give a breakdown of all the powers, but it just gives you an overview of what's going on. So you can kind of get, here's the one about mutations and defects that kind of goes into more details about how those will start off and how they will increase as you go up in levels. So yeah, all the way up to actual combat, which I think goes into exactly how the game sort of determines whether you hit, whether you miss, how much damage you do when you miss, and things like that. I don't think it goes into a terrible amount of detail on the math, but you can find that information online. And I think the Caves of Qud wiki does a pretty good job of describing exactly how this stuff is calculated. If you're into that sort of thing, if you're into seeing how the sausage is made, I guess you can do that. Who doesn't love math sausage? So yeah, that is it. Appreciate the views and any comments and feedback you have down in the comments. I'll definitely take that stuff into consideration to try to make these playthroughs better and more helpful. As time goes on, we'll probably play the game with less explanation and more, just action in the game, because hopefully we'll have already described everything. But if there is a particular topic you want more information on during the game, that's definitely something I could do. Anyway, yeah, thank you. Thanks for viewing, and you should look forward to our second run through with a brand new random character coming soon. All right. Thank you.